Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are doing something a little different. We're taking a sledgehammer to a genre that has, let's be honest, gotten a little soft in the last decade or two.
A little sparkly, maybe.
Sparkly, exactly. You know,
Yeah.
the drill-breeding teenagers, gothic castles, eternal romance, where the biggest problem is, I don't know, a love triangle.
Yeah, we're tossing all of that out the window today.
We are. We are looking at Blood Crimes, Book 1 by Dave Zeltserman.
And if you're listening to this hoping for a swooning romance or a velvet cape fantasy,
Yeah.
you might want to hit pause right now. This is not that.
Not at all.
This is gritty, it's noir,
Yeah.
it is, well, it's absolute biological horror.
It really is. It feels like someone took the vampire mythos, threw it into a blender with a hard-boiled 1970s crime thriller, and then, I don't know, poured the result into a petri dish to see what would grow.
That's a great way to put it, because in this book, being a vampire isn't a curse from the devil or some kind of magical affliction.
No, it's a virus.
It's a viral infection. It is purely 100% biological, and that's the core hook that grabbed me immediately.
You too.
It treats the condition as a biological imperative. The source material paints a picture of a world where these vampires are real, but they are essentially victims of a weaponized virus. They're predators by necessity, not by choice.
And they are absolutely terrified of their own existence, for the most part.
Oh, completely.
It's not I am the night. It's more like, oh God, what is happening to my body? So, okay, here is our mission for today. We have a lot of ground to cover because this world building is dense.
So dense.
We're going to unpack the infection itself. The rules of this universe are incredibly specific and biological, and you really have to understand the mechanics. And then we need to talk about the protagonist, Jim.
Who is basically a serial killer trying to convince himself he's still a good guy.
Right. Which is a fascinating psychological study in itself.
Yeah, he's walking this razor's edge between retaining his human conscience and surrendering to a biological drive that wants him to, well, to eat everyone he sees.
Absolutely. And from there, we're going to break down his relationship with his girlfriend, Carol, which is, well, toxic, doesn't even begin to cover it.
No, it's a tragedy wrapped in a nightmare.
It really is. And then we have to talk about the villains, because there is some corporate level evil happening in this book that makes Dracula look like a startlingly nice, well-adjusted guy.
So you have the tragic lovers, you have the corporate monsters, and you have this oblivious private investigator who's just sort of caught in the middle of it all.
It's a converging narrative that ends in absolute chaos.
It does.
So let's start with the biology, because usually in these stories, the physical changes are magical. You get bit, you die, you wake up pale, and maybe you're allergic to crosses.
Right. It's all very metaphorical.
But here, Jim, our main character, he doesn't die. He changes while he's still alive.
Yeah.
And the description of this change is just, it's visceral.
It really is. Jim refers to himself as a monster throughout the book, but biologically, he's an organism that's been perfectly adapted for survival.
For predation, really.
Exactly. The text describes the physical transformation in pretty gruesome detail. It's not just getting pale. The first thing is he sheds all his body fat, every single ounce of it.
Which sounds like a crash diet from hell.
Essentially. But it's not cosmetic. His muscles lengthen and harden. The text says they become like steel cables.
Wow.
And his skin changes texture entirely. It becomes cold to the touch and resistant to impact. It's bullet resistant to small arms fire.
So a handgun wouldn't even pierce it.
It might knock him down, but it's not going to kill him.
Yeah.
But the weirdest detail, and I love that the author included this, is that his actual bone structure shifts.
Okay, that's creepy.
Yeah. Jim looks in the mirror and notes that his face has become angular. He compares himself to an elf.
An elf, that threw me off when I read it.
Right.
You expect bat-like or demonic or, handsome but pale. But he specifically notes he looks like something out of Lord of the Rings.
Just terrifying. A terrifying, predatory elf.
Yeah.
It's an uncanniness that makes humans uncomfortable just looking at him.
And this durability, this is key to the plot. There is a flashback where Jim recalls getting stabbed in the heart early on after his transformation.
Right. And in traditional lore, a stake to the heart is game over. You turn to dust.
End of story.
But here,
Yeah.
the virus is an aggressive regenerator.
Right.
He feels the blade go in, but his tissues just knit back together around the metal.
So he pulls the knife out and the wound just closes.
Almost instantly. It forces Jim to realize that suicide is nearly impossible.
Oh, that's dark.
There's a really dark passage where he is contemplating how to end it all because he hates what he's become. He runs through the options: poison, hanging, shooting himself. He realized that none of it will work.
So what's the solution?
He eventually settles on the idea that only massive, catastrophic trauma, like a grenade down the throat, would actually kill him.
A grenade down the throat. That is the bar for mortality in this book.
That's the bar.
That really sets the tone for the level of violence we are dealing with. He is practically indestructible. But he does have the classic weakness, the sun. But even that is handled differently.
It is. It's completely stripped of the magic. He doesn't poof into dust. It's described as a severe, visceral, allergic reaction. He calls it flesh on fire.
It sounded more like radiation sickness to me when I was reading those sections.
It's very similar. We see these scenes of Jim riding in a car during the day. He's wrapped in hats, sunglasses, heavy coats, scarves, trying to cover every square millimeter of skin.
And he's just miserable.
Utterly miserable. He's shivering, sweating, nauseous. It's debilitating. It's not that a single sunbeam touches him and he bursts into flames. It's that the UV radiation causes a systemic collapse of his body's equilibrium. It's pure agony.
It makes the Baylight scenes feel so claustrophobic, even though they are out in the open. He's trapped in his own clothes, trapped in the car.
Yeah.
And speaking of his body chemistry, there is this other detail that I found just fascinating, the mustard gas effect.
This is one of those details that really grounds the fantasy in a biological reality. The virus alters the host's pheromones. To humans, Jim doesn't smell like anything. Maybe a cold, maybe a bit metallic.
To animals.
To animals, he's a walking chemical weapon.
The scene at the diner really illustrates this perfectly. He walks in, just trying to get out of the light, and there's a Rottweiler.
Right. A big, aggressive guard dog, a dog that shouldn't be afraid of anything. And the moment Jim steps in, the dog loses its mind.
Not in a barking at the bad guy way.
No, not at all. It's in a fear and pain way. The scent the vampire emits is physically painful to animals. It burns their olfactory senses like mustard gas. The dog is cowering, whining, trying to claw its way out of the building.
And it's not just dogs, it's insects too. Which leads to arguably the only funny moment in the entire bleak existence of Jim.
His backup career plan.
He realizes he could make a fortune as an exterminator if the whole vigilante vampire thing doesn't work out.
The world's most effective exterminator.
Exactly. Because bedbugs flee his presence. He mentions checking into these cheap, sleazy motels, places that should be crawling with vermin.
And he knows the room is clean.
He knows it's clean because if there were any bugs, they would be running for the hills the second he opened the door.
It's such a practical, gritty detail. It shows that he's living in this low-rent world of motels and diners, and his biology interacts with that environment in these really unexpected ways.
It highlights his isolation, too. Even a stray dog or a cockroach can't stand to be near him.
Yeah.
But let's get to the core of the mythos. We have to talk about the hunger. Because you can't have a vampire story without blood. And in blood crimes, this isn't romanticized at all.
Not even a little bit. And this is where the monster label really, really sticks. Jim doesn't have retractable fangs.
No fang.
He doesn't have a hypnotic gaze to sedate his victims. He has normal human teeth.
Which makes the mechanics of feeding, I mean, they have to be incredibly brutal.
It's messy. He has to use tools. He carries knives to open veins. Or, if he's desperate, he has to use his brute force to smash a victim's jaw or tear a throat out with his bare hands.
So it's not the romantic nip on the neck that leaves 2 cute little puncture marks.
No, it's assault, it's murder, it's gruesome.
And he tried to find alternatives, right? He didn't just jump straight to eating people. He wanted to be anything else.
Oh, he did. The text mentions his experiments early on. He tried cow's blood, fish blood. It all made him sick.
So animal blood is a no-go.
A definite no-go. The virus is highly specific. It attacks his digestive enzymes. He cannot digest normal food. There's a mention of him trying to eat a steak or a slice of pizza just to feel normal.
To remember what it was like to be human.
Exactly. And it results in violent vomiting. The virus demands human blood because it seemingly feeds on the digested nutrients within that blood. It attacks anything else as a foreign contaminant.
So he is a predator by biological necessity. He literally cannot exist without consuming people.
Right. If he doesn't eat, he weakens, but he doesn't die. He just goes into a feral starvation state where he loses all control.
Which is even more dangerous for everyone around him.
Yeah.
So he has to feed to stay sane.
And that brings us to the emotional core of the story. Because Jim isn't alone in this. He has Carol.
This relationship... Okay, I struggled with this because on one hand, it's framed as a love story. But on the other hand, it is deeply, deeply messed up.
It is arguably the most disturbing part of the book.
It really is.
It is a textbook case of trauma bonding and codependency, elevated to a life or death scenario. Carol is a normal human woman.
Yeah.
She's young, she's beautiful, but the text describes her as looking world-weary,
She's aging prematurely because of the stress of this life on the run.
constantly looking over her shoulder. And Jim is the infected ex-soldier. The dynamic is fascinating because Jim hates what he is. He sees himself as a serial killer. He carries this immense guilt.
But Carol, she doesn't see a monster.
No, she sees a savior.
To understand that, you have to look at their origin story, how they met.
Right. Carol was being assaulted under a bridge in Newark. It was a horrific situation. Jim, who was in a blood-crazed state at the time, just pure instinct, he intervened.
He didn't just stop the assault.
He ripped the attacker apart. He obliterated him. And that moment defined their entire relationship.
It did. She imprinted on him as the ultimate protector. In her eyes, his violence isn't evil, it's a tool for justice. It saved her.
And that belief, that core belief, drives her to participate in his feeding rituals.
She participates. That's the kicker. She isn't just a passive girlfriend waiting at the motel. She acts as bait.
This is the psychological complexity of the book. Carol has this deep trauma from her past assault, and she hasn't processed it in a healthy way. So instead,
She relives it.
she relives it, but on her terms. By acting as bait for other predators, rapists, drug dealers, a scum of the earth, she is reclaiming power. She lures them in, knowing that Jim is watching in the shadows.
And she waits for them to make a move.
And then she watches Jim destroy them. It's a ritual for her. It's almost therapeutic in a really dark, twisted way.
It is. It gives her a sense of justice. And for Jim, it's a justification.
Right. He tells himself, I have to feed, I have to kill, so I'll only feed on the monsters. He outsources the morality to her.
But it's not sustainable. And there is a scene that really exposes the cracks in this whole arrangement. The lady's gun scene.
Oh, man.
This part gave me chills. It's quiet, there's no monsters attacking, but the tension is just, it's unbearable.
This is the scene that really exposes the fatalism of their romance. Jim comes back to the motel room after being out, and he finds Carol's .38 revolver lying on the bed.
She's not holding it. She just left it there.
And he picks it up, and he checks the cylinder. She has taken 4 bullets out. She left 1 in.
So she played Russian roulette with herself while he was gone.
Just sitting there alone in a motel room, spinning the cylinder, putting the gun to her head.
Why? I mean, what drives her to that point?
Her logic is heartbreaking and terrifying all at once. She wants to know if he would infect her to save her life.
That's the test.
That's the test. If she shot herself and was bleeding out, dying on that motel bed, would he turn her or would he let her die?
And Jim's position is that he refuses to infect her. He views the virus as a curse, a living hell. He thinks he loves her too much to damn her to that existence.
Exactly. He wants her to stay human, to stay pure. But Carol interprets that refusal as a lack of commitment.
So she sees it as him not loving her enough.
She's thinking, if I'm dying, will you let me go or will you keep me with you forever, no matter the cost? She needs to know that his need for her is stronger than his moral code. She wants him to be selfish.
And he eventually admits it, doesn't he? He tells her, yes, he would save her. He would infect her if he had to.
He does. And that admission leads to this desperate, almost violent intimacy between them. It's not a happy, I love you. It's, I love you, so I will doom you to this hell if I have to.
It highlights that Jim is selfish. He keeps her human because he needs that connection to humanity for himself, but he won't let her go, even if it means turning her into a monster.
It's a really good question. Is he protecting her? Or is he keeping her as a pet, a reminder of what he used to be? It's a very uncomfortable dynamic.
That is a haunting question. And speaking of pets and people who have completely embraced the infection, we need to pivot. Because Jim is the outlier. He's the one trying to have a conscience.
Most people who get this power, well, they go a different route.
Let's talk about Metcalf.
Metcalf. Okay. If Jim is the reluctant monster, Metcalf is the industrialist. He is terrifying because he represents the banality of evil. He isn't a cackling supervillain in a cape.
No, he's a pragmatist.
He's a pragmatist. He treats vampirism like a business. He has a compound under a barn in Southern California, and the description of this place is chilling.
It's a fortress. Titanium walls, concrete slabs that weigh 1,200 pounds that only a vampire can lift to get inside. It's high-tech, cold, and completely hidden.
But it's what's inside that matters. He keeps humans, but he doesn't call them guests or prisoners.
He calls them cattle.
90 people. 90 transients, runaways, people no one will miss. He keeps them in pens. He milks them daily for blood. It's factory farming applied to humanity.
It's horrifying.
He has calculated exactly how much blood he can take without killing them, how quickly they regenerate, what to feed them to keep the blood quality high.
And the way he talks about it is so bureaucratic. He talks about restocking the herd. He talks about disposal of the ones that get too weak or sick.
There is zero empathy. He looks at a human the way a dairy farmer looks at a cow.
So what's his motivation? What's his grand plan?
And this is what's so fascinatingly petty about him. He has this massive lab. He's kidnapping Nobel Prize-winning scientists, forcing them to work for him. And why? Does he want world domination? Does he want to blot out the sun?
No.
No. He wants to eat a steak.
He wants to eat a steak.
That's it. He wants to eat a steak and walk in the sun. He is motivated by creature comforts. He misses the taste of food. He misses the warmth of the sun on his face.
So he's torturing hundreds of people and conducting these horrific experiments just so he can have a nice dinner and a beach day.
It makes him so much more hateable than a generic take-over-the-world villain. So selfish.
It's the ultimate Karen move, but with mass murder.
It's relatable selfishness taken to a sociopathic extreme. We all want comfort. Metcalf is just willing to burn the world down to get it.
Let's touch on those experiments because they show the durability of the vampires again. He's not just experimenting on humans.
No, he uses other vampires as guinea pigs.
Oh.
And it's grotesque. The text describes vampires in his lab with their limbs removed. They look like grotesque dolls.
Oh my God.
He pins them to tables with spikes. He starves them for months just to see what happens.
And they don't die.
They turn into shriveled prunes. Barely alive, completely desiccated, but the moment he gives them one drop of blood, they revive instantly.
So they're basically unkillable.
He poisons them with cyanide, anthrax, snake venom. Nothing kills them. It just makes them sick for a bit. It really reinforces that Jim, our protagonist, is up against a species, his own species, that is almost impossible to destroy.
And Metcalf kidnaps a scientist, a Dr. Panjibar, to help him find this cure he's so obsessed with. The way he does it is so efficient.
It's a military-style raid. He just storms the house, grabs the guy, and the detail of the German Shepherd at the scientist's house connects back to Jim.
It cowers.
It cowers. It knows a predator is there. But here is the kicker. Metcalf infects the scientist.
Of course he does.
He doesn't just kidnap him, he turns him. He makes the scientist a vampire so that he has eternity to work on the cure. It's brilliant in a sick, twisted way. You work for me forever now.
So you have Metcalf, the corporate evil, but he's not working alone, or at least he has a counterpart, Serena.
Oh, Serena.
She's the one who started Jim's nightmare.
She is the other side of the vampire coin. If Metcalf is the cold corporate scientist, Serena is the hedonist. She runs a hive in a converted hotel in New York City. She's the queen bee.
And she's the one who infected Jim, right, against his will.
Yes, in a club in Soho years ago. She saw him across the room, decided she wanted him as a pet, and infected him.
She treats him like a possession.
Completely. She believes they are destined to be together, not out of love, but out of ownership. She thinks because she made him, she owns him.
And her lifestyle is just pure excess. She uses heroin, which I found odd. Why would a vampire use heroin?
To dull the hunger. Vampires can't overdose. Their bodies metabolize everything instantly. So she and her hive or sycophants do massive amounts of drugs just to feel a buzz to quiet the beast inside them for a few hours.
It's the only way they can feel anything other than the craving for blood.
That's the idea. It's a bleak image, isn't it? A room full of immortals nodding off just to escape their own biology.
It is. She infects billionaires to steal their fortunes. She infects martial arts experts to be her bodyguards. She has completely embraced the monster label.
She loves it. She revels in being at the top of the food chain.
And she has hired a human, a private investigator named Don Hayes, to find Jim. This guy. Honestly, I felt bad for him.
Yeah, he's in way over his head.
He thinks he's in a noir novel, but he's in a horror movie and doesn't know it.
Hayes is a great character because he grounds the story in that gritty reality. He's sleazy, he's effective, but he's completely out of his depth. He's tracking Jim not by spotting him,
but by the bodies.
By analyzing the murders.
Yeah.
He sees a report of a killing in Kansas City or Cleveland, sees the detail, body drained of blood, or heavy rains washed away evidence, and he knows it's Jim. He's tracking the anomaly.
He's smart. He's putting the pieces together. He interviews homeless people who whisper about vampires.
And the police dismiss it. They call it ding-dong talk, crazy talk.
Yeah.
But Hayes starts to believe. He realizes the pattern fits.
But what's so creepy is his relationship with Serena. He's never met her face to face, has he?
Never. But he is obsessed with her voice on the phone. It's implied she has some kind of pheromonal hold on him, even over the phone line. He gets physical reactions just hearing her talk.
He's infatuated.
He thinks she's this beautiful, wealthy client who's into him. He has no idea he's working for a predator who would eat him without a second thought.
He represents the oblivious human world. The evidence is right in front of him, but he's too distracted by his lust for Serena and his paycheck to see the truth.
He thinks he's a hunter, but he's just a bird dog for the real hunter. He's leading the wolf right to the sheep.
So all of these threads, Jim and Carol are trying to survive, the biker gangs they run afoul of because of Carol's bait strategy, and this looming threat of Serena tracking them, they all converge in Cleveland.
And this is the climax of the book, and it is a mess in a good way.
A bloody mess.
It starts with Jim trying to do the right thing, for once. He sees in his report about one of his kills, this guy Dwayne Posey. The police found the body way too fast. Jim realizes he's putting Carol in danger, so he decides to leave her.
He plans a final normal date, pizza and a movie. It's so tragic because they are trying so hard to pretend they are just a regular couple.
You go shopping, you go to a movie theater.
Yeah.
But the violence of their world follows them. It's inescapable.
While they are at the movies, a biker gang associates of a drug dealer Jim robbed earlier in the book finds them.
They spot Carol at the concession stand and they kidnap her.
And this leads to the scene that it defines Jim's physical power. He's sitting in the theater, the movie is playing, popcorn in his lap.
And a biker sits next to him with a gun and tells him to come quietly.
And Jim doesn't hesitate. He doesn't negotiate.
He rips the biker's arm off.
In the theater.
In the theater. It's a display of raw, non-human strength. The text describes the sound of the wet tear. It's horrifying. And then the chase ensues. Jim is running on foot.
And the bikers are on Harleys.
And he's keeping up. Just think about that image. A guy running down the street fast enough to catch a motorcycle. He is a blur.
And he's throwing things. At one point, he throws a severed head at one of the bikers.
It is pure, unadulterated chaos. But it shows the freak unleashed. Jim spends the whole book trying to be low-key, trying to be human. But when Carol is taken, the predator comes out.
He's not fighting them. He is exterminating them.
Exactly. He gets shot. Right?
Multiple times. Point blank with a shotgun, a Glock. The force knocks him down, breaks his ribs, but he just gets back up.
The regeneration kicks in. He is a Terminator. It's terrifying because the bikers realize, too late, that they aren't fighting a man.
But here is the twist. He wipes out the bikers. He interrogates a dying one to find out where Carol is being held. He thinks it's over. He thinks he just has to go pick her up.
But when he gets there, to the rendezvous point, it's not the bikers anymore.
It's the limo, a Lincoln Continental.
Serena found them.
She tracked the news reports of the murders just like Hayes did. She arrived in Cleveland, intercepted the bikers, and now she has Carol.
It's the ultimate checkmate. And it validates Jim's worst fear, that his mere presence destroys everything he loves.
He tried to use his curse for good by being a vigilante.
But that violence just acted as a beacon for Serena. His attempts to be a hero led the real monster right to his door.
So Jim is trapped. He's got the police manhunt closing in on him, the remnants of a biker gang wanting him dead, and now his creator, the woman who ruined his life, has the one person he loves.
It ends on such a brutal cliffhanger. It leaves Jim in a position where he has to choose between his humanity and his survival.
So let's wrap this up. What does this all mean? We have a story that completely strips away the romance of vampirism. It replaces magic with biology and castles with dirty motel rooms.
I think the core takeaway is about the definition of humanity. The book asks, is humanity defined by your biology or your actions? Jim has the biology of a monster. He drinks blood, he kills, he is physically cold and alien.
But he clings to a moral code. He tries.
He tries. Whereas Metcalf and Serena, they have completely abandoned that code. They view humans as livestock. In a way, they are the true expression of the virus. The virus wants to survive and propagate.
And Jim is fighting his own DNA.
He is. And Carol is the tragic victim of that fight. She's caught in the crossfire.
I think there is a provocative thought here for you, for the listener. We often romanticize the idea of the good monster, the vampire with a soul, but this story suggests that maybe that's impossible.
Right. If your biological imperative is to feed on humans, can you ever really be good? Or is Jim just deluding himself? Is he just a monster who feels bad about it, which doesn't actually help the people he eats?
That's a great point. And is his refusal to infect Carol actually an act of love? Or is it selfishness? Is he keeping her human just so he has something pure to look at, something to make him feel less like a creature?
If he loved her, Truly, would he give her the immunity? Would he make her bulletproof like him? Or does he need her vulnerability to validate his own role as a protector? Does he need her to be weak so he can be strong?
And you have to think about the humans in the book. The bikers, the rapists that Jim and Carol hunt, are they any better than the vampires?
That's the real horror of it. The book seems to suggest that the world was full of monsters long before the virus showed up. Jim just became a more efficient one.
The virus didn't create evil, it just gave it fangs and bulletproof skin.
A chilling thought to end on.
It is. You might want to check your locks tonight and maybe, just maybe, see how your dog reacts when a stranger walks by. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
Stay safe out there.